guys, 5th grade math. Today our lesson is subtract unlike fractions. We're on page 205 and 206. I'm going to work through the odds on page 205 with you, and you'll be responsible for doing page 205, 206, and you'll only need to do the evens. Alright, your IXL assignment for today is 5th grade skill. It's fractions and mixed numbers. It's K4, equivalent fractions. Our objective is to subtract fractions and mixed numbers with unlike, but the related denominators. And we touched on this a little bit last week, so we're going to get into it a little bit more. It's finding that common denominator, because remember when we add and subtract fractions, our denominator has to be the same. All right, so let me erase this part. I'll leave the assignment up there. All right. Let's look at number 1. It says subtract, write the answer in lowest terms. So my fraction is 7/9, and we're subtracting 2/3. All right, so I've got to get to a common denominator here. And because 9 is my larger denominator, I'm going to leave this at 7/9, and I know that 3 is a factor of 9. So 3 times 3 is 9. And then 2 times 3 is 6. I can now subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. My denominator stays the same, 1/9. All right? Let's look at number 3. 3 says 6/8 minus 2/4. Again, I've got to find my common denominator. 8 is my higher denominator, so I'm going to stick with 8 because I know that 4 is a factor of 8, so I'll stay with 8. And I'll say 6/8. I've got to convert this so that I can get my denominator at 8. I know that I'm going to multiply the numerator and the denominator both by 2. 4 times 2 is 8, and 2 times 2 is 4. I can now subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. My denominator stays the same. Now remember, in this assignment, I have to get this to lowest terms. These are both even numbers, so I know they're both going to be divisible by 2. So if I divide both of these by 2, my final answer is 1/4. Don't forget, you've got to watch that reducing step, all right, because it does ask for lowest terms. All right, let's go to our next section. Again, we'll stay with the odds, so I'm going to start with number 5. And 5 says 7/8 minus 3/4. 8's my larger denominator, and I know that 4 is a factor of 8, so I'm going to stick with the 8, and I'm going to convert this. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. I subtract. I have 1/8. All right. No need to reduce there. I'm already to the lowest terms. Let's look at number 7. 7 says 7/10 minus 3/5. Tenths, my higher denominator, so I'm going to leave that the same. 5 I know is a factor. I got 6/10. 7 minus 6, 1/10. All right. Let's look at number 9. 9 says 5 4/6 minus 1 1/3. When we're making equivalent denominators, I leave my whole number the same. I don't need to do anything with that unless I would have to borrow. All right, so I'm going to leave this at 5 4/6 because 6 is my higher denominator. And I'm going to convert this so that I can get this to 6 because 3 is a factor of 6. So I've got 2, oops, sorry guys, 3 times 2 is 6. Now I can subtract. 4 minus 2 is 2/6. Do I need to do something else? I do. I've got to get it to lowest terms. And I know that these are both even numbers, so I'm going to divide these by 2 2 divided by 2 is 1, 6 divided by 2 is 3. My final answer is 4 1/3. All right, that was 9. Let's look at 11. And 11 says 6 7/9 minus 4 1/3. Looking at my higher denominator, I'm going to leave 9 the same. I know that 3 is a factor of 9. So 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 3 is 3. 7 minus 3 is 4/9. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 4/9. All right. Let me look through these guys. I'll see if there's any. Doesn't look like it. It looks basically the same thing that you did last week. You're going to have to find your common denominator so that you can subtract. Follow the steps. Don't forget to reduce. If you see that there's a, they're both divisible by 2. If they're even numbers, 3, watch for those. And like I said, your assignment is to complete 205 and 206 evens. You do your IXL, 5th grade skill, fraction and mixed numbers, K4, equivalent fractions. Remember, you only need to do 5 problems. This is for me to check to make sure you understand what you're doing and also to catch your attendance. All right? Good luck, guys. If you need any help, have your parents email me.